Yeah, I'm still in shock over Debbie Reynolds first having a stroke and then dying one day after her daughter, Carrie Fisher, passed away of a heart attack that she suffered on Friday. Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher were two of the staples of my growing up, and certainly now my mom's life, because Debbie Reynolds is 84, whereas my mom is 82, and my stepfather is 82 as well. And I, what really bothers me is that Debbie Reynolds died of a stroke one day after her daughter passed away. One day. And yet, a lot of the blog media, like TMZ, for example, which broke the story, they just treat it as some short 400-word post with no feeling. Just, oh, she was 84 years old. She was famously married to Eddie Fisher. You feel like you're reading something that a computer could have printed out easily, an algorithm could have produced, as opposed to a human being. If that doesn't bother you, then you're as cold as the people who wrote that post. My question to you is, do you want to be that way? I certainly hope not. I want you to think about this. Debbie Reynolds was so broken up while planning the funeral for her daughter that she basically willed herself to death. That's essentially what happened. She went to meet her daughter in heaven. That's where she wanted to be. For those of you who don't believe in God and try to convince us that there's no spirit, well, here's one for you, and please don't even try to explain it. It is what it is. I gave a eulogy before the family and friends of a fellow that I knew, Sanjeev Honda, who was an Oakland journalist. And yeah, I said this before, but it bears repeating. His mother was sitting right there, and I could not get over the fact that she had lost her baby. Parents don't have children expecting that the children will die before they do. It's not the way it works. It's not the way it's supposed to work. There's something wrong with that. And what goes through my mind is that both Debbie Reynolds and her daughter Carrie Fisher were active, and Carrie Fisher was actively working, and at a time when some people just retire. And I'm wondering if, because people have to work so hard to make their money now, and yet we just take this for granted, that we're not killing people off by the very nature of the way that we live. Think about it. Michael Jackson died at 50. What was he doing? He was working like a dog. He really was. Prince died. He didn't even make 50, did he? Almost. Same thing, working like a dog. Muhammad Ali stuck around. He was still making appearances, and he was in his 90s. Okay? He was in his 90s. He lived a good long time. But those who passed away, I think of Brian Burrell of ESPN. I think of Craig Sager, it was 65, right? Stuart Scott. These are all, well, the past year, young people. Yeah, 60s and, well, I'm 54, okay? So that gives me pause. Gives me pause. Then the committee was, Ricky Harris was 54 too, passed away 2 days ago. Whew, man, think about that. There's something to be said about, negatively, about the life that we're living. And it goes back to, for me, a study at the Harvard Business School that was released, I believe, if memory serves, in 1988, about how we were, because of the International Division of Labor, being pushed to work longer hours for about the same money. You say, what's the International Division of Labor? That's where, say, a part for 787 Dreamliner is made in Japan, and another part is made in Europe, another part's made in South America, and the final assembly plant is in America, in Everett, Washington, like that, as opposed to everything being made in America, where the companies making, that were the subcontractors, paid wages that were prevalent to our society, not to China or South America. Yeah, to an American standard of living, which means you made more, you made your money, so you didn't have to work as much. Something is wrong. It really is wrong. I'm just putting it out there for you to consider. We're losing too many great people too early in their lives. At least by anecdotal observation, it seems that way to me, and it certainly appears that way to a lot of people from what I'm hearing. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. We have to begin to craft legislation to engineer leisure back into our lives, so that we're not working so much, so that we are getting sleep, so that we're resting. There's something wrong. I just leave that for you to consider. And I leave with you this: we're losing people who've made indelible marks on our society too early in their lives.